Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Welcome back to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with me, Karl Fitzpatrick. Well, having been friends for almost 25 years, interiors and property enthusiasts Kelly O'Toole and Sinead Meyler decided to take a leap of faith by quitting their day jobs and starting Two Birds Interiors, a creative interior store on the outskirts of Gorey Town. Both Sinead and Kelly joined me on the phone now to discuss their eclectic design startup, Two Birds Interiors. So Sinead, start by providing us with an insight into yourself and Kelly's professional backgrounds.
Okay, so I'm an estate agent. I had a business called BuyMyPlace.ie up until last Christmas, when Kelly approached me to set up Two Birds Interiors. Kelly herself worked as merchandiser and interior designer in Australia. Is actually where that part of her career started. But she's always been very creative and has worked as a freelance interior designer for the past 3 years throughout the southeast.
And how did you identify the niche in the Gorey market to set up an interior design business?
To be honest, with the housing climate as it is and has been for the past few years, as an estate agent, I was going around to an awful lot of houses and realised there was a lot of people who were very tired with their house and kind of thought that they wanted to sell them. But in actual fact, a good revamp and just redecoration, just to make people fall in love with their houses again. Myself and Kelly both felt that there was a niche in the market and that's all that really was needed for people.
And Kelly, how would you describe Two Birds Interiors?
Two Birds Interiors is a funky little store. We're just at the entrance of Gorey Business Park. Our style would be very punchy, colourful and probably a bit eclectic as well.
And Kelly, how would you describe your typical client profile and the projects which you currently work on?
Most people coming into us at the moment, we have a lot of young couples coming in who are first-time buyers, and they like the fact that we're kind of young and fresh and we've got these pops of colour. So we seem to be getting a lot of kind of young people in their late 20s, early 30s who are just starting out on the housing market, and they're not bringing with them, say, the old sofa from Mammy's house or the old bed. They're starting fresh with a clean palette and they want, you know, a young, funky house. So we definitely seem to be capturing that kind of age market. But an awful lot of our clients are actually middle-aged couples, who are people who probably haven't touched their house in the last decade. You know, people had their heads down with the climate as it was, and they've saved hard, and they want to fall back in love with the house again, and there's the money squirreled aside, and they're kind of ready now to get started. So a lot of people, I'd say, are, you know, country-based people here from, say, Wicklow down to Wexford. They've heard about our store in the last few months and they're calling in, and we're kind of starting with them on one room or two rooms or the downstairs, and then it tends to evolve from there.
And typically then, Sinead, what size of a budget are your customers coming to you with?
Any kind of budget, to be honest. We don't turn anyone away. So we've had people who come in a bit shy with €500, but to be honest, we can do a lot with the room for €500. And then we've done show houses, people who have maybe 5,000 to 10,000 to spend downstairs, and then they'll squirrel another bit and come back for upstairs. So at the moment we're kind of dealing with budgets between 5,000 to 10,000 per room.
And Kelly, talk us through the creative design process that you follow when working on a new project.
So the creative process is a funny one. Sometimes you could walk into a house and they could have the most incredible old antique table, and that for me could be the starting point for the whole space, that they want something new, but I'll maybe convince them to keep the table and we'll do some really edgy chairs, and the creative process starts from that piece that they already have. Sometimes it could be that they've seen a rug that they're crazy about, or they have a colour that they love, and the rug is the starting point for the whole room scheme. It could have, you know, limes and teals in it, and that then sets you off on, well, that's the starting point. So with any project, you tend to have a trophy fabric that you start with, or a piece of art that the client already owns that they're really passionate about, and that can be the start of the creative process for that space.
And Sinead, are you targeting your services towards the residential or the corporate market?
At the moment, we're focusing on the residential market. We're only in business 6 months, so we want to nail that before we enter into the commercial market. In saying that, we have plans for the new year, and we're very excited about it, and you'll see us expanding into the commercial market very quickly.
And how do you plan to develop your client base in this particular space?
Well, we are working away at it at the moment ourselves, Karl. It's hard to break in as newbies in this market, but we've got a couple of clients now who have signed up with us for some new projects in the new year. So we're very excited about that.
And where do you source your creative ideas from?
Our creative ideas, well, we travel a lot. In the last 6 months, I've done quite a few shows. We're ready for a rest now by Christmas. We head to Germany, we go to the UK to shows, we've been over to Paris. So we're travelling to an awful lot of shows at the moment to see what they're showcasing for kind of the next year and 2 years and trends. And we'll always look to our suppliers and see how are they creating their showrooms, what are they putting into it, how does it look. We can be inspired by anywhere. You know, sometimes, like I said, it could be that we're on our travels and we'll spot a rug and it'll end up, you know, we'll buy around that rug or that story. So a lot of it now is coming from shows abroad and seeing what's happening in Europe.
And Kelly, what are the emerging trends in interiors at present?
Okay, well, trends at the moment. Well, we tend to say we don't like trends or we don't follow trends. We're definitely not a slave to it, because if you follow a trend to the letter, your house and your home can date so quickly. So we obviously pull inspiration from trends, but we always say to people, don't go out and buy what you think is the latest thing. Go out and buy what you love. But definitely trends at the moment are steering more to colour. People are definitely being braver. They're being bolder. They're picking a lot of brave paint colours where typically they wouldn't have before. The kind of moody dark colours are really strong as well. There's a lot of people painting, say, a small little dark cosy living room. They're painting it in dark navies or dark kind of cloudy blues, and they're going with that dark kind of look and enveloping themselves in and creating a really cosy nook. So people, I think, are definitely being bolder. Colour is really strong, and that seems to be carrying through for next year as well. There's a lot of blush pink out there this winter. That's going to carry through again next year. A lot of people have decorated their houses in grey, and they're starting to realise now that that's great as a base colour, but that they're actually lacking a bit of a punch. So they're kind of coming back now and adding in those kind of bright coloured velvet accent chairs and pieces like that.
And Kelly, how important is it for you to support Irish designers?
Oh, massively, massively important to us. I mean, we are very conscious that our business in the last 6 months is based on people giving us the local support and business, and we are very much about repaying that. We source locally as much as possible. We'd have 2 or 3 big Irish brands that we would stock week in, week out with our cushions and throws. We're big advocates of a local artist, Vera Gaffney, who does fabulous floral art. She's based in Roscommon now, which is originally a Gorey woman, and we'd have her pieces on the wall every week. We would always try and go to local kitchen makers and cabinet makers when someone wants work. So as much as possible, we're about keeping it local, and we find then, you know, people are very appreciative of that. They want to keep it local, and then they keep it local by hiring us. So, you know, it's all a circle of supporting local.
And finally, Sinead, what is your ambition for Two Birds Interiors over the next 5 years?
Oh, God, Carl, we have huge plans for Two Birds over the next 5 years, but we might have to win the lotto, I think, before we fulfill them. But at the moment, we're working extremely hard on our digital presence. So between social media and our website, they're going to both be huge factors to our business, and actually are huge factors to our business already. We want to expand our shop. We keep falling in love with so much stock that we can't showcase because they're obviously quite restricted with space. But the plans are in motion, and hopefully within the next 12 to 18 months, our store will be a destination store where people are travelling to quite regularly.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Kelly O'Toole and Sinead Meyler from Two Birds Interiors, and I've no doubt that there is certainly a bright future ahead for this startup.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.